for second. Oh dear.
Well, just to put it into context quickly, 2:02.42 is the 8th fastest time in history, so not too shabby.
Now, Tigst Assefa, back to her. We've been talking about the wonderful racing for the last half hour or so in the men's race. This is not racing, this is an exhibition performance from the Ethiopian. The reigning champion, the defending champion, the champion to be surely in just a few minutes' time. 2 hours, 4 minutes on the clock. Her projected winning time now has been gradually coming down towards 2:12. Her 39th kilometre was a 3:07. And that gave her a projected winning time of 2:12.07. And look at this, 1 minute 47 inside the world record. Brigid Kosgei's performance has been, threatened but not broached since 4 years ago, 2019 in Chicago, when she lopped well over a minute off the long-standing, fabulous world record of Paula Radcliffe. Well, now the world record of Brigid Kosgei is about to be resigned to history, because this will be the world record holder surely in just a very few minutes' time, about 7 minutes away. Tigst Assefa through 40k in 2:05.14, 2:05.13. There is the first German, yes.
Well, Petros coming home in 2:04.59, so he said he was on 2:04 shape. It's a huge personal best. He's taken over a minute off his previous lifetime best on debut in Berlin, and surely has qualified for Paris next year in the Olympic Games. Well done to Amanal Petros, the German #1.
Through 40k then in 2:05.14. Brigid Kosgei went through 40k in 2:07.11. She's 1 minute 57 seconds ahead of Brigid Kosgei, and still looking strong. The shoulders, the arms maybe beginning to roll from side to side a little bit more. Jared Ward there. Well, he was 6th in the Rio Olympic Games, was Jared Ward, coached by my old mucker, my old friend Ed Eyestone, great marathon runner and 10,000 metre runner of years gone by. Jared Ward, the supremely cerebral marathon racer. Now in the latter years of his career, he would be the first to admit that. But here, chasing the leading woman, I wonder if pride will make him stick with her and ease past her once they're through the Brandenburg Gate. Gebru is of the three is the one who's had to do the hard running. Gebru, the pacemaker, really straining here to help Assefa through these final few kilometres to the finish line. Chris, she is trusting, relying upon Gebru. They're linked together, they're by a band no more than about a metre long. She is stuck with him kilometre after kilometre, and he has been the most wonderful, wonderful lead for her.
Well, he's done all the heavy lifting, hasn't he? And he's made it relatively straightforward for her. But he looks as though he's really suffering now, and he's just gesturing, and maybe he's about to move and give her clear daylight. Approaching 41 kilometres, they've got just 2 more turns before they come into Unter den Linden, and as we saw with Eliud Kipchoge, once that final turn is negotiated and the Brandenburg Gate comes into view, then the heart can lift, and then you know you're home.
Well, the first time 2:20 was broken for the marathon was here in Berlin. Naoko Takahashi back in 2001 for Japan, winning with 2:19.46. Now, there are no less than 65 women who have broken 2 hours 20 for the marathon. Jared Ward there to the left of picture, just striding out, feeling strong, maybe feeling he was almost hypnotised by sticking behind Assefa when he knew he could go a little bit quicker. But it matters not a jot, because Gebru, rightly there, saying to Assefa, come on, move to the fore, get the glory yourself. I think he's very aware here that maybe he's sort of hogging the camera shot, and it's not his fault. World record 2:14.04, you can see bottom right of picture there by Brigid Kosgei. That back in Chicago on the 13th of October 2019 was a historic improvement. The world record prior to that was Paula Radcliffe's 2:15.25 in London back back in 2003. Well, it's about to take another massive jump, a bigger jump even than Kosgei managed 4 years ago, and we never thought we'd see that, Chris.
No, we didn't. I think the gesturing is to make sure that she sticks to the shortest line, the blue line, making sure she doesn't waver even by a few centimeters. There is again, pointing to the blue line. That's your line, and there's the prize, and there's the Brandenburg Gate.
The Brandenburg Gate then beckons for Tigst Assefa, the 2022 champion, who in winning 12 months ago in 2:15:37 became the third fastest woman in history, is going to be the 2023 champion, but it's a very different story. She's running here towards a place in the history books. She's running towards a new world record, and she's going to better the world record of Brigid Kosgei from 4 years ago in Chicago by possibly more than 2 minutes. At 41k, her clocking for the kilometre was 3:03. Her projected time 2:12:01. Now, if she can rally this last few hundred metres, could she break the 2:12 barrier? Unheard of improvement from this woman, Tigst Assefa, 29 years old, in only her third ever marathon. There's Gebru, her pacemaker, who has done such a marvellous job. He's coached her through, coaxed her through, and now she approaches the Brandenburg Gate. It will be her retaining of the title here in Berlin, and he gestures her on with a wave there, almost a push through the Brandenburg Gate and into the glorious Berlin sunshine for Tigst Assefa. Look at the clock, 2:11 on the clock. She's got 300 metres to go. Can she get under 2:12? I think she can. She's going to better the world record, possibly here, by over 2 minutes. She's striding away now. This is the young girl who many years ago, back in 2014, ran 54 seconds for 400, a world-class 1:59 for 800 metres, and today she becomes world record holder in the marathon, surely. A couple hundred metres to run. Tigst Assefa takes the world record to Ethiopia, snatches it from the grasp of Brigid Kosgei of Kenya from 4 years ago in Chicago. A few metres to go, still no smile, still that focus, and the world record is hers, and look at the clock, 2 hours, 11:52, unofficially. History is made. It is writ large in spectacular manner here in Berlin. 2:11:52. Let that sink in. I love it. Stops her own watch, maybe some 30 seconds or so too late. But her coach there, Gebru, giving her a huge hug. She took 2.5 minutes off the course record last year. Well, she's just locked more than 3.5 minutes off her own course record from a year ago. And we are in science fictional territory here. Gebru gives her a huge hug. What a job he's done as her pacemaker throughout, all the way through to about 42 kilometres. He left the glory stretched to her. But Chris, that is the marathon performance of the year, the marathon performance in many respects for many years from Tigst Assefa. A delightful story from a young woman last year who shocked us all with that personal best by 18 minutes. Who thought she'd improve her personal best by over 3 minutes in a huge new world record today?
Well, that is life-changing, isn't it? What a privilege to have witnessed that here in Berlin. And I'm looking at the numbers again. 2:11:52. I mean, there are some 800 metre runners who will be pleased with that as the numbers for an 800 metres race on the track. 2:11, but it's 2 hours, 11 minutes, 52 seconds. No wonder the coach is delighted. A little bit of history. And just a word about Paula Radcliffe. We haven't mentioned it already in commentary, but she's out on the course today, pacing a group at around 3:30 pace. And when you think about, Tim, the 2:15:25 that stood for over a decade, this has just sent that world record into the stratosphere. Brigid Kosgei 2:14.04, and now 2:11.53 is the official time. 2:11.53, a new women's marathon record.
Henrik Pfeiffer und Samuel Fitwi, die beide grandiose Rennen
staggering.
haben. Macht es richtig laut für Samuel Fitwi und Henrik Pfeiffer.
No wonder she's giving those shoes a kiss. They have carried her well all the way through to the performance of all time in the women's marathon. Conditions perfect this morning in Berlin, but so many other things have to come together. Get your ducks in a row, as they say. So many things have to be aligned right. The training has to go well, day in, day out, week in, week out, for many months prior to a performance like this. Travel has to be right, the sleep has to be right beforehand, the food, the diet has to be right, everything has to click, and it has today in spectacular fashion. That is huge credit to her and her support team. And here, the second place, by the looks of things, Sheila Chepkirui, when we can get her in focus, 32 years old, and she, coming towards the Brandenburg Gate, may threaten her personal best. She's about 2 minutes inside it at the moment, 2:17.29 for third in Valencia last December. She was fourth in London in 2:18.51. She is tired though. Look at the difference. The stride, the gait of Assefa at this stage a few minutes ago was powerful. It was adrenaline fueled. It was an acceleration, whereas Sheila Chepkirui here, half smile, half grimace for her as she closes in on what looks to be a pretty comfortable second place.
Yeah, had a baby daughter back in 2018, ran that personal best in Valencia on debut, 2:17.29. Dropped out of the sport in 2008, didn't return to elite athletics until 2015, so she had a number of years away from the sport. Then, of course, there was the interruption from COVID. But here she is, Tim, with just over 350 metres to go.
Last year, she mixed her track and road racing, including a win in the Berlin Half Marathon. That was in a 65:02. She became the 7th fastest ever in the half marathon, with third at the Ras Al Khaimah Half Marathon. She took a bronze medal in the Commonwealth Games 10,000 metres, behind Eilish McColgan's marvellous victory in the Vest of Scotland. And she has great track personal bests, and her last 4 half marathons, listen to this, 64, 67, 64, 65. Fabulously consistent in the half marathon. At the age of 32, can she improve? Well, she's not going to improve her best today, 2:17.29, almost up on the clock, bottom right of your screen, but it has nonetheless been a marvellous run from Sheila Chepkirui. Couldn't match Assefa for very long, and hardly surprising now when you see Assefa's winning time to 11:53 to give it the exact right mark, as Chris said. And she is hurting. She looks mortal, and that is almost reassuring for some of us who have been there in years gone by. She is working so hard for this time, and it's not far outside her lifetime best. A brilliant second there for Sheila Chepkirui in Berlin, and that official second place time for Sheila Chepkirui, well, just inside 2:18. It was about half a minute outside her lifetime best. Waiting for that to come through.
6 minutes the difference between Tigst Assefa in first and second place Chepkirui.
And Chepkirui taking second, and Shauri coming through for third place. And this is, again, has been a lonely run for her through the latter stages. Stressed, no time for smiling from her. Magdalena Shauri of Tanzania from the Arusha Club takes third place in Berlin 2023, making her debut, and she runs 2:18.48, something like that. She's a 66-minute half marathon runner. But 2:18.50, something like that.
2:17.49.
By the way, 2:17.49. 5 minutes 56 behind that astonishing run of Assefa. Let me just say it again for you in case it hasn't quite sunk in. 2:11.53, the winning time in the Berlin Marathon for the first woman home. A new world record by 2 minutes and 11 seconds.
There is Odessa, who was in contention, wasn't she, for the first half of the race?
Here it is again, the winning form of Tigst Assefa, crossing the line in 2 hours, 11 minutes, 53 seconds, lopping 2 minutes and 11 seconds of what itself was a fabulous world record by Brigid Kosgei back in 2019. In 4 years, it now leaps forward over 2 minutes, and dare I say it, in 4 years' time, we'll be looking at a woman running under 2:10. It is unthinkable until this last 4 or 5 years that women could get down to these sorts of times. But Tigst Assefa is the BMW Berlin Marathon champion of 2023 in a stunning world record. And of course it means this race, this course, this city now has both world records for men and women.
Yeah, the 13th world record to be set on this course, and Berlin continues to maintain its reputation as the fastest marathon on the planet, bar none. Proof again today. Mark Milder, we saw him earlier, among the first to congratulate Tigst Assefa, will be delighted as race director. What is it about Berlin? What is it about this place at this time of the year? All the ingredients have to be